In the heart of Atlanta, Georgia, in a comfortable middle-class black neighborhood, a little boy named Martin Luther King Jr. was growing up. The year was 1929. His life was safe, secure, almost idyllic. His father, Reverend Martin Luther King Sr., was the respected pastor of Ebenezer Baptist Church, a place full of life, music, and community. His mother was gentle and devoted, his grandmother affectionate and ever-present. At home, love was the rule, but the world outside their neighborhood? That was another story. Though young Martin's childhood was mostly untouched by racism, every so often, an ugly glimpse of it would break through. And even as a boy, he was sensitive, acutely aware of the pain of others. Those moments, small as they were then, planted seeds in his soul. His father was a strong man, strict, principled, and relentless in his expectations. If Martin stepped out of line, there were whippings, not out of hatred, but out of a determined belief that discipline would make his son a real man. And Martin Jr. understood. His father's eyes were on him for a reason. He was different, bright, charismatic, with words that could sway his friends, even as a child. His father had a plan: Morehouse College, the ministry, and one day, taking over the pulpit at Ebenezer. But inside Martin, there was tension. He admired his father deeply, but they were not the same. His father's faith was passionate and unquestioning. Martin's, quieter, more analytical, more curious about life here and now than life after death. By the time he entered Morehouse at just 15, he still wasn't sure he wanted to be a minister. He toyed with the idea of becoming a doctor, a lawyer, a sociologist. But the more he studied, the more he found an intellectual depth in religion he hadn't seen before. And slowly, the calling grew. After Morehouse came Crozer Theological Seminary, and then Boston University. Martin's mind exploded with new ideas: Marx, theology, philosophy, and the life-changing teachings of a man named Mahatma Gandhi. By the time he earned his PhD in 1954, he was a married man, Coretta by his side, and faced a choice: stay in the safer North or return to the troubled South. And in his heart, he already knew the answer. He accepted the role of pastor at Dexter Avenue Baptist Church in Montgomery, Alabama. The city was tense, segregated, dangerous. Coretta warned him. His father warned him. But something inside Martin told him this was where he was meant to be. He preached with a passion and intellect that set him apart. His message? The transforming power of love. Love strong enough to face hate and change it. Then, December 1955, an ordinary bus ride became a spark that lit the fire of a movement. Rosa Parks, tired, dignified, unyielding, refused to give up her seat to a white man. Her arrest ignited a boycott. One day became a week. A week became months. And when Montgomery's black leaders formed the Montgomery Improvement Association, they needed a leader. They chose Martin Luther King Jr. At first, he hesitated. He was new to the city, a young father, a busy pastor. But in the heat of the moment, he said yes. And that yes changed history. The white power structure struck back: threats, arrests, violence. One night, after yet another death threat, Martin sat alone in his kitchen, trembling. And for the first time in his life, he truly prayed, not out of ritual, but out of desperation. He asked God for strength, and he heard a voice within. Stand up for righteousness. Stand up for justice. Stand up for truth, and I will be with you until the end of the world. From that moment, the fear began to fade. Even when his house was bombed, he urged the angry crowd outside to meet hate with love. After a year-long struggle, the Supreme Court ended bus segregation in Montgomery. Martin was now a national figure, but fame brought jealousy, infighting, and relentless pressure. By 1963, Birmingham, Alabama, was the most segregated city in America, a place nicknamed Bombingham. When activist Fred Shuttlesworth asked King to join the fight there, Martin wrestled with fear again. But he remembered that voice. This time, he would fight smarter. The plan? Expose Birmingham's brutality so vividly that America and President Kennedy could no longer look away. He counted on the city's police chief, Bull Connor, to overreact. And he did. When adult turnout lagged, King took a controversial gamble, filling the streets with school children. America watched in horror as fire hoses and police dogs tore into teenagers. The outrage worked. Negotiations followed. Birmingham stores began to desegregate, and the momentum helped lead to the Civil Rights Act of 1964. King became the youngest Nobel Peace Prize winner in history. But each triumph brought heavier burdens: political backlash, FBI surveillance, criticism from within his own movement. In Chicago, he was booed by black crowds chanting Black Power. The Vietnam War sickened him, and his message expanded to challenge not just racism, but poverty and militarism. Many thought he was going too far. Even allies told him to stop. But King refused to split morality into neat boxes. In 1968, exhausted and feeling the end was near, he was called to Memphis to support striking black sanitation workers. Their courage revived him. On April 3rd, he gave one of his most prophetic speeches. "I've been to the mountaintop. I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but we, as a people, will get to the promised land." The next evening, as he stood on his motel balcony, a rifle cracked. A single bullet struck his neck. Martin Luther King Jr. died within the hour. He was just 39 years old, but his voice, his dream, his unshakable belief in the power of love and justice still echo through time. Because Martin Luther King Jr. didn't just dream of a better world. He walked straight into danger, doubt, and death itself to help build it. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment below.